it is only natural that quick commerce, which is one of the latest categories of products alongside buy now, pay later, will see tremendous growth over the last few years, and we also expect it to continue on this growth momentum, both in Gulf and also in the broader MENA region as well. But of course, it's also important to have higher engagement levels and more usage from the same base as well. And that is where I think quick commerce is starting to become the new e-commerce, right? So that's one way to think about it, because you will stop looking at quick commerce as only for breads and cheese and other things. You will look at quick commerce when you want to buy a tennis racket, or if you're playing a game of paddle and you have run out of like paddle balls, you will order it over Talabat most likely, and not really from an Amazon store or walk into a store.
As you mentioned, now consumers want their stuff at least the next day, if not within an hour or two. How do you think the change in behavior is affecting the industry, and what challenges does it put on the provider of this service?
Let me first talk about consumers, and those consumers globally want the same thing. They want more stuff, fastest, in a more affordable way. Like, these are the three dimensions of this business specifically. So you will continue to see this ecosystem, which is rather nascent, mature towards that as well, right? More stuff entails new categories of products need to be introduced. Like, historically, it has always been groceries, but you will start seeing beauty being there, apparel being there. You will start seeing pharmacies being quite active here as well, right? So these new categories of products will continue to come in into this. How you consume or get these products, people want them now, right? So even on e-commerce, the next day is now moving to 3 hours. The 3 hours is moving to 20 minutes, right? And we've seen with Noon launching their Noon Rocket, Noon Minutes, that they are catering to that demand. So this will put a lot of pressure on these platforms to create a lot of, put a lot of investment in creating the right infrastructure. And that has its own operational challenges and sort of challenges around sustainability. But in addition to that, I think the market is also becoming very competitive, because like we said before, it is one of the highest growth category of market segments, and it will invite competition from incumbents. Your Carrefours of the world, your Lulus of the world will continue to invest here. Your existing big platforms, Careem, Talabat, will continue to invest here. And then you'll have new players also entering MENA. And we've seen that in the broader MENA context, because you and I always mostly think about UAE and Saudi, but once you think about Kuwait, once you think about Qatar or Iraq for that matter, or Egypt, all of these other markets have local champion brands. And those champion brands are putting up a fight to all of these bigger companies as well, and they have a home advantage to execute.
So how sustainable is the quick commerce model, taking into consideration the operational and environmental cost?
On operational and financial, companies who are operating at scale are already financially and operationally in the green, right? So they are profitable on a unit economics level. They are even profitable if you have to go and fully bake in the cost as well. Operationally, it is a lot more complex, requires a lot of dedicated investment in infrastructure and technology, right? But we've seen companies who are scaled on this, that the economics continue to work. Now the environmental impact is real, right? And the environmental impact is that for the same sort of small basket of goods, you have a rider who rides around a city or rides 5 kilometers to deliver it to your doorstep. Right? And that carbon footprint is very much real, and we are seeing all of these platforms realizing that and trying out even EVs as a solution.
Is there space for more competition?
Quick commerce has started to shape up to become e-commerce, right? And if you were to take that lens away, like you were to stop thinking about quick commerce as only groceries and think about e-commerce, I do believe there's a room for specific niche players to come in and focus on certain categories and go deep into it.
What are these categories?
Like, first, I'll give you a successful example of Flowered. Flowered does only flowers, right, predominantly, and then some gifting, but it's a separate product that they've commanded over and they go like deep into. Beauty is another thing, like your makeup items, your sort of cosmetic items. There are companies in other parts of the world which are only squarely focused on that. They don't do anything else. They don't service any other product, so you go deep into it as well. So that's happening for sure. But what we're seeing specifically in Gulf is that there's an advent of global companies coming in. You may see it even on consumer broadly. Yango has come in on ride hailing, right?
There's a Chinese company also coming to Saudi.
There's a Chinese company called Meituan who launched Kita in Saudi, or have plans for Kuwait and UAE, right? They're also going in. So broadly speaking, and even Temu has come in. Temu is a Chinese company by Pinduoduo. They've come in on e-commerce. Trendyol has come in here, which is a Turkish and a Kazakh company, if you were to think about it. So there are people, these are companies which are really big, multi-billion-dollar companies who are going into newer markets. And we started off this interview or this conversation by the size of the market and how it's growing. All of these guys are seeing it, and they're not seeing it anywhere else in the world, right? So all of these, like players from Russia, players from China, players from Central Asia, are like vehemently going into this market. And I think that will offer a lot more options to consumers, but it will be a very competitive space for incumbents and existing players alike.